Welcome back to another episode of NFT Catcher Podcast. We'd like to remind everybody that nothing on the show is meant as financial advice, and to please do your own research. Thank you, and enjoy the show.
Now the subject is NFTs.
They're known as non-fungible tokens, or NFTs.
NFTs are exploding in popularity.
This is a technology that will forever change the way people interact.
So it is happening whether you understand it and like it or not.
This phenomenon is moving. The digital.
You have now joined Jenny from the blockchain and Michael Keene on the NFT Catcher Podcast.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the NFT Catcher Podcast with me, Jenny from the blockchain, and my co-host, Michael Keene. We have a special interview today. Today, we are interviewing Betty from Deadfellaz, one of the co-founders of Deadfellaz, which has been around since August of last year. And Betty, we're super excited to have you on the show. I actually remember I literally messaged you like months ago, like trying to get you on. And so I'm super excited to have you here today with us.
Hey, thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here. I also would like to take a moment to acknowledge that amazing intro track. So cool.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, Carlos, shout out to It's Just Los on Twitter, made that for us when we first started this podcast. And it just gets us hype every time. So we have to play it in the beginning.
Yeah, I feel like I'm like, getting amped up, like entering the ring or something. So cool.
Yeah, right? Like, it puts you in the zone.
Yeah.
Okay, so Michael, how you doing?
I'm good. How about you? I'm excited for the episode. Betty, thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Pleasure.
Yeah.
I actually listened to Carly Rowley's podcast, Overpriced JPEGs, which, by the way, we had her on the show. We did a collab episode several weeks back. And her first, I didn't even realize her first episode ever of the Overpriced JPEGs was her interviewing you, Betty. And I literally listened to that whole thing. And so that was kind of my homework, my preparation for this. So shout out to Carly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love Carly and I love Overpriced JPEGs. I think that's a great show.
It is.
Yeah. So you are one of the co-founders of Deadfellaz, which minted on August 13th, which was a Friday the 13th.
Yes.
And you planned that as well.
Yes.
And there were 10K of them for 0.025 ETH. You said you wanted to make them accessible and affordable for people, which I thought was great. And the floor is now currently 1.87 ETH and, has been pretty solid for the last, several months. Before Deadfellaz, you said you were a creative producer running agencies in the corporate setting. You were making animations, graphics, etc. for some of the biggest brands in the world. Can you share with us the story on how this all started for you?
Yeah, totally. So creatively, Syke is my husband and the co-founder and artist for Deadfellaz. So creatively, I guess professionally and personally, art and just being involved in creative industry has been something that we've always done together. So we have, either been doing that for other people or for ourselves. And it just proved not to be pandemic proof. I think a lot of people in the creative industry suffered a lot with the pandemic. We had a lot of our larger contracts cancelled immediately with the lockdowns and everything, which was really difficult. So anyway, in January of last year, some artists from a collective that Syke has been in for many years now called Depthcore. It's like a digital art collective. It's wonderful. Some of the artists contacted him and, said, you should get into this NFT thing. It's really amazing. And he explained it to me and I was like, light bulb moment. It was just immediately something that was, I don't know, it just felt like the clouds had parted. I was like, what is this amazing thing? We jumped right in. He started making NFTs just of his personal art. And I was just heavily lurking, heavily lurking on Twitter and Discord. That's really just how we got into it. I found it really inspiring. I found it really amazing that people were coming together all over the world to build something new as like an answer to a lot of the problems that we faced thus far. So, yeah.
And what were some of the things that you felt like NFTs solved as far as, because you just said, solves a lot of problems, versus in the Web2 world, in the corporate setting, what are some of those problems that Web3 and NFTs solve?
Well, I think over many years, me personally, but also on a larger scale, we've seen the exploitation of creativity by corporations and, large organizations. Creative people bring value to brands and to products and to services and to the world, really. And that's been completely undervalued for a very, very long time. So even for us, like a lot of the things that we've put out there have never been credited to us because that's just the nature of the game. And, it's been fine, but then you'll see. So the first time we ever saw Sykes' personal artwork like printed on an item was at a market. We went to a market and someone had gotten the image off the internet and printed it on underwear. They were selling it in the market.
Let's go.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
So, I mean, that's an example, no credit, no nothing, and that's kind of what it's been like forever. And I think that provenance of being able to credit artists and provide them autonomy around how they value their own work and how they're received in the world and what they produce and how their voice is shared, it's very empowering. I think it lends itself to self-sovereignty, and it really challenges a lot of the structures that I think a lot of us were crumpling under before. Just a real shift of power, and I think it's just great.
Wow, seeing your art on underwear, that is interesting. And then also no royalties for that underwear. That underwear sale, there was no royalties at your husband's
No, none. Zero.
Yeah, that's the beauty of Web3 and things now. It's like the fact that you can get royalties on like every sale after the initial sale, you get, a bit of a portion of that. And that's like something totally like new for artists. And I mean, I'm not even really, much into the art scene or, an artist in Web2 or Web3 or in real life. I'm just a collector, but I see how amazing that is, for artists right now and for people to be able to make things that can stand the test of time and, people can collect. And even when they're dead, they're like kids can like earn on what they created, which is like incredible.
Yeah. I will say though, that like you saying you're just a collector, I wouldn't put it like that, because without people like you, the art that is being put out wouldn't be going anywhere, like it wouldn't be appreciated. It wouldn't. So I think that the whole movement has provided people a home and a new avenue to be appreciated, like digital art. I mean, Sykes been creating digital art forever, since the minute that, he opened a program on a computer that could create art, and it's only ever been made for art's sake, and for the furthest it's gone for his personal art is like likes on social media or for nothing, just to keep and just to make. And so now it's like this brand new vehicle, allowing digital artists to connect and form communities and camaraderie. And it's just so great. It's just so great. New pockets of culture. I'm here for it.
Absolutely.
Michael, you want to say anything?
Yeah, nah. So then obviously you guys, you come up with the idea for Deadfellaz and you get it ready to come out. Back in August when you guys released this, it was a whole different era in NFT projects. But I'm looking at it now. I mean, you guys have 6,200 owners. That's a lot. Like, talk about, if you don't mind, the kind of, is there pressure behind that? Do you like, I know a lot of people now, they put out a project and all of a sudden people expect them. It's like a business and you need what's coming next. What are you guys doing? It was a little different back in August. Can you speak to kind of how things have changed, if that's affected your project, and how you feel about all that?
Yeah, it is so funny because the space is constantly shifting. It's this living organism that changes with it's wild, and you have to be so adaptive and so flexible and, pivot constantly while staying true to the vision that you had to start off with. I will say that treating it as a business was something that we set out doing initially. And I think it's because of how we run our own creative ventures prior to Deadfellaz. Like we just brought that attitude with us to this. And so we were kind of primed for it together. So the pressure that we feel, while there is real pressure there, I don't think it's the same as maybe some of the people that have launched projects that didn't come in with that experience, because I can imagine it being actually quite distressing. You have the skills and the know-how and the connections to launch a project successfully, but it's a very, very different thing to run it and to keep running it through that completely shifting landscape. Like, things could be completely different next week or the week after, and you have to pivot to that. It's it's interesting, but it's very exciting. I find it quite thrilling, and I think that throughout our lives personally, we've kind of thrived on change. We never really settle for anything, and we don't like to get stuck in the same thing. So for us, it's kind of great.
Nice. Yeah, it's good to hear. So that was originally your thought was, because I know a lot of projects, they kind of like, it was the thing to start up and put out a project and like, oh, now I have to run it. Like Jennifer and I have said before, kind of it's not easy to launch and sell out a project, but the hard work starts afterward, after you've gotten the money, then it really starts.
That's it.
Yeah, for sure. But you guys have done an awesome job. I mean, I've been looking at this project a lot this week, knowing that you're coming on. I saw the big news. We could talk about the talent agency that signed Deadfellaz. I'd like to kind of learn about that a little bit. Congratulations on the huge success of it. I mean, 27,000 ETH traded, like it's wild.
Yeah, thank you. It is really wild. It's mind blowing. When we conceptualized Deadfellaz, I didn't really have a doubt in my mind that it would be successful or not. I knew that it was going to be something. So it was a matter of just staying in that determination. And there's a lot of things that are thrown at you day to day in this space that can, put you off course and really knock you about a bit as a founder, I think. But it's I do feel very confident and very happy with where we're going.
Cool.
I saw that one of your collectors got a tattoo of their Deadfellaz, Lady Eve. We got to shout out Lady Eve. They got their Deadfellaz tattooed on them. How does that make you feel, like seeing somebody else with a tattoo of like one of your NFTs in your project? I mean, it's not, or it's their NFT, but still, like, you created the project and it's like somebody literally just tattooed that on their body.
It's so wild. It's so wild. So we've been having people in our community get tattoos since like the second week.
Oh my God. That was the first one I seen of Deadfellaz. I was like, oh my God, it was a big one too. It was like right in her arm.
Yeah, honestly, constant. Someone got a neck tattoo of their tiger. Someone, like one of our mods, Panda, she's got 2 Deadfellaz tattoos. We've got people. It's just, constant, which is kind of cool because Psych and I really love tattoos, as well as Deadfellaz, obviously. So it's a bit of a beautiful combination. It is wild though, the conviction and the love for what we've made. It's humbling and also really encouraging, and I love it.
Are you gonna get a Deadfellaz tattoo at some point?
Psych already has 2. I have a 13 on me, but that was pre-Deadfellaz. I need to get mine.
Yeah, that's definitely. I don't have any tattoos, but I have seen a lot of people getting their NFTs tattooed on them, and I think that just goes to show how incredibly passionate people are about NFTs and the NFTs that they collect. Like, people are just so passionate about it.
Totally. Well, I think tattoos are used like a communication tool in the same way that NFTs are. We use them to show our belonging and to represent something. And I think that the communities that have been born from NFT projects really provide that for people. So it's like people are proud of it. It's just so lovely.
Yeah. I'm curious, kind of changing the direction a bit here. I'm curious why you're anonymous. Because I
have so many reasons.
Oh my God, so many reasons. Can you tell us just, a couple?
Yeah, so I mean, I won't be anonymous forever. That's the thing. So I'm going to VeeCon, so I'll be like myself at events. And I'll be on video things, and yeah, I'll meet you there. And I'll be at NFT NYC and all of these events in real life. From May. So I'm actually a real person, not a green zombie. But the reason why I wanted to start out the way I did, and I'll still remain semi-anonymous, is the main reason I'd say is my children. The internet is a wild place, and combine that with crypto and the way that it's a male-dominated space as well. I felt like my own safety and the safety of my children, my 3 young children, I wanted to keep that anonymity. I didn't really want to be completely accessible to everyone. And I think that lends itself to the NFT space and the movement of Web3 in general. And I think it's respected as well, which is really nice. Another thing is, it is back to that male dominated thing. I didn't want to be received in a way where what I looked like or who I am as a person preceded my work, if you know what I mean. Like, I didn't want the male gaze to be something that lend itself to how Deadfellaz was received or any of that sort of thing. So I just wanted to put myself out there with my work first. That's not to say that that's right or wrong, or that, people that do it differently are right or wrong. It's just what I wanted to do. Another thing is brand building, personal brand building. I wanted to be a flagship and an example of how someone can build a personal brand around the IP of their NFT. And I think I've done that successfully. So, yeah.
Yeah, you definitely have. I mean, 72,000 followers on Twitter. You're speaking at VeeCon. You're, a lot of people know you, and you've really, for being completely anonymous, you've really built yourself up in this place, in this space, which is awesome to see. But yeah, you know what that made me think about? I don't know if do you know Rude Moose? Maybe not. If you're not into CryptoKitties or Top Shot, then you probably don't know her. But basically, she is like one of the first CryptoKitty users, and she's been super helpful on the CryptoKitties and Top Shot team, and recently joined the team and everything. But anyway, she's like a true OG in this space, has been here forever. And she would always go by the name of Rude Moose, which now she goes by Candy. And nobody knew, everybody just assumed she was a guy because, her username was Rude Moose, and it was just like a picture of a moose, and it was like a black and white photo. And like, she liked that. And she was like, I like that nobody assumed that I was a female, because she just felt like there was all these like, I don't know, judgments, or maybe they wouldn't take her as seriously. And she just like felt like, just being completely anonymous, and even with her gender. And so, but she recently kind of came out of that and was like, you know what, like, I'm Candy. And, she's shown herself in live streams now and everything. And, everyone kind of knows, who she is. But yeah, she kind of started out like, you know what, I just want to be nothing, and nobody knows exactly who I am or what I am. And I think that's so interesting too. And I think the space definitely started out with a lot more people that were, completely and totally anonymous, not even their first name, even, users going by their punk ID and stuff like that. And I think the space has really evolved to where it's more of like an integration between, you'll see people that are doxing themselves, or they have their full name out there, and now it's a bit of a blend. And I'm curious to see how the space kind of evolves with people being anonymous and being
I really am too.
Yeah
I think that as well, though, it's really a cool thing to see that respect from people that, say there's people at real life events but they're not fully doxed. Like, you'll always see them photoshopping their avatar's head onto the person when they post their photo online. I just think that's like so cool to see that respect for it. I think that demanding doxing from people while the space reflects the real world, and that there's very real violence and unsafe spaces for people that have marginalized identities. I think that anonymity is essential for a lot of people to be able to be safe and to feel comfortable navigating this. So yeah, it's really cool to see it all unfold anyway. And like I said, it's all new, so it's fun. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. Sometimes I wish I was anonymous, but I started out, that's what made me stand out so much in the beginning, because I started out fully not anonymous and my face and everything. And everyone was like, why is this person not anonymous? What the heck? So it was actually really weird that I was like a doxed person. Seriously, in the Discord, I was the only one with me and my sister. We had our actual profile pictures, which was like so nerdy, and everyone else had like, I don't know, some basketball player or whatever. And it was just like, yes, hi, we are here. But anyway, okay, so I saw the other day, maybe it was yesterday even, or the day before. I think it was yesterday. Non-fungible fungi, which is, by the way, one of my favorite projects. We actually had Henry from Non-Fungible Fungi on the show for an interview like a month or so back. But the Non-Fungible Fungi came out with honoraries, and the very first honorary was awarded to you. So congratulations. It was so cute. The cutest fungi ever, with like little mini fungi. Like, I'm assuming
Oh my God.
your children just running around. So cute.
Yeah, I love that project too. I think it's so cute. I remember it was Fungible introduced me to it pre-mint, and I was obsessed with, they had like a, was it like the Genesis ones or the mythical ones, whatever, the ones prior to the big one, the big mint was. There was like a mum mushroom, and I just fell in love with it and I wanted it so bad. But I didn't end up getting it. But now I have this other Betty mum mushroom, which is the best thing ever. So yeah, very happy. I love their team.
Yeah, they are awesome. Michael, did you want to say something?
No, I mean, I wasn't necessarily, but I do eventually want to talk about the UTA signing with Deadfellaz. I'm kind of interested in how that works. You know, what do you expect to come of it?
What does that mean?
Yeah, like I mean, for like, is that something where you pay them as like a marketing agency, or they sign you as the talent? And what do we expect to come from that?
Yeah, so UCA approached us and we had those conversations, got to know their team. The conversations flowed very well right off the bat, and I think it's because their team, specifically our team that's led by Leslie Silverman and Caroline Hooven, they're very much crypto NFT native. Like they really understand the space. They're part of the space. They've been here for a long time. So their perspectives on things are really great and really align with our mission, because they're coming from both worlds, which I feel we also are. And our mission to kind of cement ourselves as this pop culture brand, this force of, counterculture and social change, and while being relevant and, being in all of those spaces, while also building in parallel in the metaverse and pushing innovation and trying to expand on the Web3 space and, make it more equitable and open and interoperable, all those things. They understand that, and they're, through what they can facilitate with us, it will elevate that for us in many ways. So while it's not like we're not using UTA as like the primary driver of everything that we're doing, they're an incredible team that we've got externally from us that are on our side and really, with our best interests in mind. We don't pay them as a service. It's like they signed us as talent. So their interests lie in how well we do, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yep. Definitely makes sense.
Yeah. So, and it's really great. It's just really great. We've had some amazing things happen already, which I can't talk too much about, but yeah, it's just, it's awesome. It's a pleasure to work with their team, honestly.
Cool.
And encouraging as well, because the conversations that we have with people that are very, Web 2 or not at all in the NFT space, like the team at UCA are able to translate things really well to them. And yeah, it's great.
That's awesome. No, I mean, it's always good to, add fresh, people to the team and new ideas and people that know different people and can make things happen.
I think so too. Yeah. Also, I will say, like, many of the people that are doing very, very well in this space are very well connected, come from Silicon Valley, already very wealthy, all of those things. That's not me. I'm not that person. Like, I we've run agencies that have provided creative work to corporations, but very much behind the scenes. We've been silent vendors. I don't know, the people that all of these other people know. Well, I do now, obviously, but it's great because it's like having someone in your corner that recognizes the vision and the value and what Deadfellaz is capable of. So it's good.
That's great. And what kind of future stuff do you want to see from Deadfellaz? What's like your 1 year, 5 year plan kind of thing?
Oh God,
I want
not
to be
the 1 year,
a
5 year plan
household
question.
name.
Yeah.
A household name, I think. I want to bridge the NFT space with the real life branding space, and I want to expand into various kinds of media. We are already doing that behind the scenes, and that's really fun. Just to see that develop, because it's a funny thing. You've kind of got to build with the long term and future on these very, very long term projects silently, and then constantly be putting out new things and new announcements and all of this stuff to keep up with the space that people are used to the NFT space moving at, in order to stay relevant and to stay innovative and to keep pushing things along. So it's kind of building two things at the same time at all times, which is a funny balance, but it's fun. It keeps things interesting, and we're always doing something new.
Cool. No, that's really interesting and good perspective. It's cool to hear, how you guys think about that kind of stuff. I'm actually looking around. I see Odell Beckham Jr. has his profile picture is a fella.
Yeah. That was a really great, amazing surprise. Him and all of his immediate circle just one day bought up purple furs and made that their thing. And I think that that's a really cool example of, how subcultures can be born within these NFT projects as well.
It's really cool.
Yeah, they made purple furs a moment, it's really interesting to see how people can do that.
And as far as, because you're talking about community for a bit there, and I'm curious, how do you keep, because you guys have had a solid, strong community since really when you launched in August, and it's been, I don't know, August, September, October, January, February, March, April, 7 months. Yeah, I had to do a little counting. 7 months, and that's not easy to do. To be relevant for 7 months in the NFT space, people don't realize how hard that is. And, to have a strong community behind you, and to even have a steady floor, is impressive. So what, do you have any tips as far as, how to build a strong community, or how to, keep your project up for months after selling out, for maybe people that are wanting to start their own project listening?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I can't speak to the floor price because it goes up and down. For me, it's fair. It's when I look at it in terms of where we're at now compared to where we started, there's clear growth there and there's a clear trajectory. The day-to-day thing and the way that the markets are, impacted by sources and inputs that we couldn't possibly understand or have control over. It means that if you focus on that as a founder, you're going to go insane, you're going to lose your mind, and you're going to become, really disheartened really quickly. And you can't build in reaction to that. You have to build in preparation for what's next. So you have to build to your own vision. It's less about reacting and more about preempting. In terms of keeping the community strong, I think that it goes back to, if you're going to launch a project, it has to be about something that you're passionate about. You have to be filling a gap that you yourself think needs to be filled, because there will be other people that feel that same way. You need to remain passionate about it, because there are really, really, really hard days. And it's easy for people to, just give up, I think, and lose that drive and that momentum. Nobody can build something through hard times successfully if they don't care about it or they're not passionate about it. So really identifying what you value, bringing that to your community and focusing on them, because they bring the most value. They're your primary marketers. They're your primary source of inspiration, all of it. It's a mutual value exchange, and recognizing the value in your community and bringing them as much value as you can in terms of experience, belonging, all of that. is really important. And it goes back to that point that I made before about building in parallel constantly, even while we're doing all of the smaller activations that, announcements and collaborations and things that keep going, you then still need to go a level below that as well and focus on community activations. How are you engaging your community? Who's moderating your project? Do your values align? How can they feel involved? How can they be involved? How can they be seen and heard? There's lots to think about all the time, but it's, I think, the number one thing that I would focus on over everything else prior to launching a project is connecting with people on a real level, like not followers, not any of that. Just find your people and lift them up.
What about building a team? Because you really can't do everything alone, right? If it was just you and your husband, that would just be rough.
Yeah.
That would be crazy, right? If it's just, and a lot of people are out here roughing it. It's just them, it's just, it's a solo act, which is never ideal, obviously, but if you can build a team, then that's super nice. I had to get through your personal assistant to book you on this podcast. So that's how I know you're definitely busy and you're definitely organized with everything. But can you speak about having a strong team when it comes to creating a successful project?
Yeah, totally. I think that in terms of launching a project, you can do that yourself. Definitely, if you wanted to. But in Psych and I, we were just ourselves. We had our 2 devs. We had the mods that came in really early that we knew from before Deadfellaz. So Mortem, our community manager, and Proxy and C Solo, they came in before Mint and started helping us out moderating. We trusted them and we knew that they understood what we were all about. So it was an easy thing to do. And then it just grew naturally like that. You can't wear all the hats and you'll go crazy. So it's a funny thing actually hiring with Web3 in mind to build out a corporate structure, because that's kind of at the end of the day, a lot of these projects, if you're going to make it in the arena that we want to make it in, that's what you have to do. So it's balancing the two. We found our COO, Holly Longoria, through our community. I saw her speaking one day about operations, and I messaged her and I was, kind of prying a little bit and getting some background, and discovered that she was actually an amazing operations officer at a huge company in the US. But I'd known her in Web3 for the entire time that I'd been there, and she was amazing in that arena as well. So it was wow, I have found a unicorn that understands both so well. And that's a challenge, honestly. Finding people that you can trust and finding people that have that deep understanding is hard, but so necessary. Because you need to be able to delegate. I think that if you don't, things, you'll drop balls and things will not be executed well. There's a job that you can do well yourself, or you can hire the person that does that job on a professional level. And I think that's the difference between maybe success and just kind of squeezing through.
Yeah, and maybe you get burnt out if you try to do it all yourself, and then...
Oh my God, absolutely. Yeah. You could work 24 hours a day in this space. It never stops. It never sleeps, because it's worldwide, it's global. You have to have really firm boundaries for yourself, how accessible you are as well. There's a lot.
Yeah, 100%. And as you grow more and more, of an audience and people knowing who you are, more and more people reaching out, asking things of you, wanting to know information. I can definitely, I feel that it can definitely become overwhelming, and it's you try your best, but you can only do so much as one person.
No, that's it. And you have to, if I feel bad saying no, but you have to get used to saying no. If I let everyone pick my brain that asked me, I would not have any brain left to pick. You just have to have that clear boundary and know that, you can't be everything to everyone.
Yeah, that is something that I'm working on. Definitely. I feel like I say way too many things. It's ridiculous. And yeah, I'm definitely working on that. My sister tells me that. She's like, you need to just take some time chill and not, but the weekends for me, like Saturdays are like my days where I really try to do nothing related to Web3. So then I feel a little better, like, kind of doing Web3 related things all day, like the other days. So yeah.
I usually take Monday mornings. Monday mornings in Australia are Sunday night in the Northern Hemisphere. And so that's like my time Monday morning where I'm like, I get to kind of center myself for the rest of the week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not easy. Sometimes the best thing you can do is say no.
That's it. And Bobby Hundreds, my friend recently said, I can't remember the exact quote, but it was like, success is defined by your ability to say no. And I think that that's so true because, the amount of opportunities that get thrown our way are wild, and I'm so grateful for them. But if I said yes to everything, my brand would be completely diluted and, there would be no clear path and no clear vision. It's so important to be able to contain that and stay true to it.
Yep. Yeah. We don't even get it nearly to the level that you do, but we still constantly get asked like people to come on, and I get messages like, for the pod, or like people are like, hey, can I get you to like, how much does it cost for you to like endorse my collection? And I'm just like, I don't do that. I don't even know what you're talking about.
I like having the power and the control of like choosing who gets to come on, and like not, you can't like pay your way on the show. It's like, I don't know, like I think it's kind of more fun that way. And I think our audience, probably appreciates things being more genuine and knowing that, you can't buy your way on.
No, that's it. That's so great. It's authentic and it's true. And that's what people respond to. Like, gone are the days of algorithms and paid promotion. Like it's done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you tell us about VeeCon? You're going to be speaking at VeeCon.
I am. I can't talk much about VeeCon, but I'm going to be at VeeCon. I'm going to be in and around VeeCon. I've got a little cheeky thing that I can give to the Horde, any of the Deadfellaz holders that are in town. Some of them at least. So we've got a couple of things on. I'm looking forward to connecting with people. I would argue that a lot of the people that I speak to day to day are like some of my best friends now, and I've never even met them. So I'm very excited to connect with people in real life.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a lot of people's case. It's like, being friends on the internet, and then it's like, well, now it's time to meet in person. Like Michael and I met in person at an event, and we had like never even met before that. And it was like, I was like, what the heck? How are you like 6 feet tall? And I'm like 5'2". We look the same height over the camera here.
Oh, dear.
Anyway. Okay, so Michael, do you have any closing questions for Betty as we kind of come towards the end here?
No, I think I asked the ones that I really wanted to ask. I mean, I was really cool hearing your perspective and hearing a lot of the things you had to say and how you go about, running the project and keeping it on track, and your vision for the future and all that stuff is really interesting to hear. A lot of kudos for how it's been run. There's like 6,200 is a lot of people for a 10,000 person collection. That's really great. And, nothing but respect. I don't know if I have a closing question.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Going on that whole comment, like it's a funny metric now because with the allow list thing that's happened recently, to combat gas wars and all of that sort of thing. It's not really a metric that we can use anymore, but we can still use it for the projects that came out, mid to early last year. Just because it's so funny. But we still do, or you still see people like, oh, look at the holders, but it's funny. Again, how the space changes.
Yeah, it's a bit different. You're saying because they can spread it out a little more these days because of how the drop mechanics. I know what you're saying.
Well, yeah. So if you have most of your project allow listed and say each person can only have one or two, it's naturally going to have a very large holder count because there's so many people that are interested. I think we were one of the only projects at the time of launch, and maybe since then, that actively avoided hype. Like I was so under the radar. I did not want gas wars. people, when we minted out, I mean, we still minted out in 20 minutes, but when we minted out, people were like, what is this? I've never even heard of it. What's going on? Which was funny.
How do you think the word got out there? How do you think, was it just like the OGs in the community knew about it and told people?
It was the adoption of it through artists. We're a very art focused collection. Psych is a digital artist. And so those communities that had formed around artists just quickly adopted us, I guess, and saw what we were doing. Gong Yang and the Ghosts community, Klon and the Cool Cats community, both very early supporters. Lerona and Fuckrender and all of those people that we really admire. Justin Malla, like OG digital artists. There's lots of people just saw what was happening and I think through there it spread.
The price was right, obviously, as Jennifer said, 025. Do you remember how many holders you had when it sold out?
I think it was just over 3,000.
Okay. Yeah, that grew a lot since then. Yeah, well. Yeah, that's still a nice number. I mean, Bored Apes had 1,200 people or something when it sold out, I think.
Yeah, and the way that metric shifts over time on the collections that didn't have those allow lists, I think is a really interesting and powerful thing to look at. But now it's hard to look at that. And even then, how many wallets are held by the same person? There's so many things. It's a funny thing trying to make sense of anything in the NFT space, to be honest.
It is. Well, now they sell out and they'll have, 7,900 and a week later it'll be down to 6,000. It consolidates. It goes the opposite way. Yep.
Yeah. It's funny seeing patterns arise. I think we'll see that continue to shift. I've got no idea what's going to happen when more and more people enter the space, but I guess it's just to be seen.
Yeah, right. It's to be seen.
Gone are the days where you can you just release your project and boom, somebody can literally mint hundreds, Pranksy minting 1,200 Bored Apes. They couldn't do that.
There's actually projects like that every single day. You could go mint hundreds of them if you want, but they're maybe not, the best
popular
project.
Ones.
Yeah, they're not the popular ones.
The popular ones, they do the allow list because that also helps them gain more popularity and traction.
Right. It makes people feel like they're part of something early and they get a chance to mint early.
Here's permission to buy my project.
Nobody wants to buy.
I don't want to spend my money on your project. I know.
There's a lot of I think exploitatory psychology used in this space in terms of creating intentional FOMO, closed discords and all of that stuff. I don't know. I have thoughts on all of it, but
I think people need to have, we need some type of NFT psychologist or something to come in and just be like, guys, if people are doing this, they're trying to make you feel this. And, I don't know, because everyone's so emotional and by, obviously we're humans. So, we're naturally emotional beings, but it's hard to kind of tap into being a little bit more logical with things and realizing, okay, what are they trying to do here? What's the, what is the truth, and kind of seeing beyond just the glaze that people put over of the hype and the FOMO. And it's what's really
totally
there.
It. And then, you combine, it's so many different worlds that are so juxtaposed. You've got this crypto day trading, gambling type side, and then you've got art people that are collecting art for art's sake, and there's all these different kinds of people coming together, and it's how does that make sense? It doesn't make any sense, but it's fun. Got
it's
no
chaotic.
idea. I think people try and make sense of it a lot, and I don't think there's sense to be made. I think it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. It's just chaotic here. Nothing to see here, folks. Just chaos. That's it.
Yeah, and then you've got. I was actually speaking to another founder this morning who was having a hard time and saying because they were trying to make sense of it, and I'm like, you just can't. We're trying to build, and we are building stable products and brands, and projects that are expected to be steady through this crazy volatile market with so many different things that are impacting it at all times for reasons we can't even conceive. Like, there's so many things that happen behind the scenes, and and we're still there building this product that's stable and real. And it's a funny place to be sometimes.
Yeah, it truly is. Well, thank you, Betty, so much for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure. I'm looking forward to meeting you. Michael and I will both be at VeeCon, so we're looking forward to meeting you in person. I guess I'll hopefully you have like a little sticker or something of your Deadfellaz so I know who to look for. Or I'll just try to linger around and hear people's voices and be like, oh my God, that sounds like Betty.
Yeah, it's gonna be definitely an interesting thing being under the radar at first, and because no one knows like who I am and what I look like to walk around and not be known or seen will be quite funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll see you there. I'll see you first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you find us? Because that would be more helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you again, Betty _NFT on Twitter. And also Deadfellaz, check him out. And we'll catch you guys in the next episode.
Thanks so much.
Amazing.
Thank you for tuning in to the NFT Catcher Podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and learned something new about the exciting world of NFTs. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you really love what you're hearing, please leave us a rating and review on your favorite platform. If you want to stay up to date with the latest news and insights from the NFT space, be sure to follow us on all the socials at NFT Catcher Pod. You can follow Jennifer at Jennifer_pseudo and Michael at NFTicket. I'm your producer, Andy, and I'm at AJC254. Our theme song's by It's Just Los. We always appreciate your feedback and support, which helps us reach more people and bring you informative and engaging content about NFTs. We look forward to bringing you more great NFT content in future episodes. Thanks for listening. Peace.